That's very funny. I'm not a prodigy. 'Cause, I started music when I was 12, so already I was past. I would have been a has been already. I wrote my string quartet little bit by little bit. So when I was a teenager, so 15, 16, and 17. I always loved the string instruments. I started playing the trombone not by choice. It was because it's the instrument that they gave me at the brass band. So it was kind of an arranged marriage, but we grew fond of each other as the years went on. Especially when I switched from valve trombone to slide trombone, that made a big difference. Maybe my valve trombone was not the best of instruments also, I'm not sure. Anyway, I thought I sounded really, really bad. And then on the slide trombone, it kind of opened up a new, it's a voice. But strings and trombone are very close because you don't have, you don't have valves, you don't have fingering. You all have to play by ear like that. And there's all of that, and also we always try to emulate the voice. One of the first LP I bought, because I'm older, so I used to go to a used record shop and go through the records. I got the Juilliard string quartet, all the Bartok string quartets by them, and that drove me crazy. I said, "Whoa, this is amazing! This is like, heavy rock." There was no metal at the time. It's like, it was the equivalent of that, but in classical music. So I went like, "Wow!" And maybe that drove me to write something for quartet. I wanted to be a veterinarian. Then I wanted to be a psychologist. And then when I started playing in the band, it was like not that year, not when I was 12, but by the time I was 13, I already knew. Let's say 13, 14. I already knew that was going to be my call. I don't know how to explain it. It was kind of it was a calling. Well, pasacalle or pasacalle it comes from the Spanish word to walk by, and not walk by, but to pass, and to it's kind of passing, but keep passing, in the sense that it always comes back. For example, Bach has Passacaglia in C minor. You might not know the name, but it's quite well known. So it goes do sol mi fa sol la fa sol re mi si do fa sol do, and we start again. Do sol mi fa, and now we start again. We add other things to it, so there's kind of variations, and that goes on it. That's a very good question. This arrangement is amazing, by the way. It's a great, great, great version of Till und Spiegel. It means Till is the name of some guy who was a prankster, and it's Till and Spiegel. It's Till and Spiegel's merry pranks. So he makes fun of everybody. I mean, it's kind of a sarcastic in a way, because it's funny, but it's not funny. It's kind of like Dave Chappelle says, it's funny until it happens to you. so it's that kind of guy. And at the end, it happens to him. He plays tricks on everybody, and everybody's really sick of him after a while, because they're not really funny things. I mean, and at the end they say, okay, we do away with him, and it's very pictorial, the whole music there. But that's a good question, because you need the clarinet, absolutely. You need the French horn. It's Richard Strauss. You cannot have Strauss without a horn. The thing is that if you add another instrument, you might open a door or a Pandora's box that now you're stuck to getting not 1, but 2, but 5, but 10. So I think he got it exactly how it should be. So I would not add any instrument. He wrote this piece when he was 16 years old. Almost completed it, or we missed the last few pages, but one of his students finished it before they published it 60 years after he wrote it. So he wrote this when he was 16. He actually had written part of another one when he was 13. So and maybe some of you don't know this, but his first symphony, when he was 19, was his conservatory a test piece, and we still play it as he wrote it then. So the first symphony, he didn't change anything. It was just amazing. So we really talk about somebody who was a prodigy in his own right. So this trio was called actually poem, and you can feel the youth. You can feel it's very different, huh? Because um, Shostakovich went from the Russian era to the Soviet era. He also went from a time where he was celebrated as a composer, great composer of the people, to a time where he was actually banned from being played and called an elitist, sorry, and then again being accepted. But you know, he had to do a kind of mea culpa, which he did, but didn't do it. His life is full of sarcasm, as many people who had to live through Stalin's era in Russia. So this predates that. So we see the pureness of his heart. It's before he's had all these bad things in life happen to him. So it's interesting to see it's very romantic compared to the rest of his writing, especially his writing when he's just 17, 18. His first symphony has nothing to do with this piece, and it was written about 2.5 years after. So it's really interesting. Maybe, and I'm just saying that because I don't know, but speculation, maybe because it was so different than the rest of his music, he wasn't too much in a hurry to get it published because he finally found his voice. Now, that's what's really difficult about composing, is that what is your voice? When you're 15, 16, and I understand very well that's that, your voice is full of influences. Now, you don't really have your voice. You're kind of finding your way. My teachers always told me that's when I write something, they say, oh, it's going. You're along the way. You're finding your own path there. It's good. Keep going. They didn't want to discourage me. So, but Shostakovich, you can see in his trio, you hear some Shostakovich, but he's finding his way.